like people do stand up to this kind of, let's call it what it is. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. There is nobody being served well by these decisions. The women's national team have been so successful. They won the Euros. They got in the World Cup final. The growth of the sport's been huge. Had to put up with Joey Barton being a knob all year, just attacking women's football, and him rallying other people to relay these same outdated misogynistic tropes. It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable there. It's not acceptable from our council. And this isn't any woke agenda. This is common sense. It is what it is. We will continue to fight against absolute nonsense within our town and with our football club.
So, Pete, we've come to talk as there's been a club update that the club has put out over the last few hours or so, and a chance for you to speak directly to fans and inform them potentially a little bit more on the goings-on between the lease agreement with Bedford Borough Council and Rail Bedford.
Yeah, and it's more than just fans, actually. It's to our ladies' team, the young girls who play football in Bedford, the wider football community, to the council, specifically the elected members of the council, to everyone, that this is completely and wholly unacceptable. Just for the context, if people haven't seen the statement, we've been in negotiations with the council and the mayor for months and months since he pulled our lease. We'd spent 2 years negotiating a renewal, and after he was elected, shortly after he became mayor, he instructed the council not to renew our lease. And so we've been in negotiations for a very long time, jumping through every hoop they've asked us to jump through, agreeing to nearly everything they've asked, because we needed a place to play football. And the mayor, I think it was April 26th, he emailed us to confirm that he was going to grant a 15-year extension. So we were obviously all very happy. And then we got the heads of terms on Friday, which were just full of things that we could not agree to. No lawyer would agree to. Rise in our rent, an annual rise in the rent of £10,000 on top of that, arbitrary terms that give them the power to kick us off the ground. But the most concerning was they effectively wanted to ban women's football from our ground, which I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. But it's just wholly unacceptable. And for me, it kind of shines a bright light on the chaos of what has been this mayor's tenure for his first year as mayor. And so, yeah, look, wholly unacceptable. Our ladies' team is as important to us as our men's team. We've worked very hard to provide them with the same resources. As of next season, the men's and the ladies' teams, as you know, because we've been working on this together, will have everything the same. We're going to stream all men's and ladies' home games. Every game will have a programme. The only difference between the teams will be budgets, because they're set to win leagues. Everything else will be the same. All the provisions will be the same. And the council and the mayor are fully aware that we have a ladies' team. They're fully aware that they've won a league and cup double, and on Sunday they're going to be playing for a treble. And they put a termination clause on the lease that said if anyone but the men's first team plays football there, we will be kicked out of the ground. It's wholly unacceptable. And so I wrote to the mayor this morning, wrote to the council and said, we're ceasing all negotiations with you now. It's not acceptable.
This is, of course, a saga that has been around Rail Bedford for a long time now. And as you've mentioned there, at the end of April, it did seem as though there was potentially a light at the end of the tunnel. With how long and how pressured this sort of situation has been, resulting in potentially the future of the club, something you've mentioned before, how significant of a decision is this for the tenure of Rail Bedford?
Well, look, it's a risk. I mean, I discussed it at length with Neil, who worked on our strategy. We need an extension from the council. And so to call out the mayor, Councillor Sarah Gallagher, Trevor Roth, who is the mayor's assistant, to call them out for being obstructive and incompetent and unqualified for the job presents a risk, because they themselves could refuse the lease. But if you're an elected official, if you work for the town, your job, your mandate is very simple. You're there to work for the best interests of the people of the town. And if you're not working for the best interests of the town, it needs calling out. I The mayor's already written to me this morning, I think in a blind panic, offering to remove that clause. The rest of the lease itself is still unacceptable. But the point is that we have a mayor who's willing to put in arbitrary, misogynistic, discriminatory clauses into a lease, into a public document in the year 2024, when we're already having to deal with these horrible misogynistic tropes. We have to deal with online, we have to deal with morons like Joey Barton with unnuanced attacks on the women's game. And for an elected official to be doing this, it's a disgrace. And I'm sure, as he wrote to me, I could have gone back and said yes, and we could have gone back into the negotiations, but it's not right. I've called for the mayor to resign. I think he has no other option but to resign, because he has exposed himself in the way he thinks, whereby if he's there to represent the best interests of people at Bedford, is it just the male side? Look, it is a risk for the club, but it's the right thing to do. Elected officials are meant to represent the best interests of the town, not their friends, not their family, not their cronies, not the people they sit and have a beer with at the Bedford Club on to Paris Avenue. It is the best interest of people of Bedford. And now we're effectively putting these people on notice that if you are going to work against the best interests of people of Bedford, we're going to call you out.
And what would you say to those people of Bedford, the people that potentially are hearing this news, maybe not as aware of the club and of the matters going on there, but this should also be a red flag to those not necessarily fans of football, but fans of the town, citizens of the town, as this is potentially one of many things that have caused issue with Tom Wotton's campaign so far.
Yeah, look, I obviously have a bias because I love our football club, but I also love Bedford. And I think even with my bias, I can comfortably say that we're objectively good for Bedford. Just look at the list of things that we've done since we've taken over the team. The men have won consecutive doubles, back-to-back doubles. They've gone from step 6 and they're going into step 4 football. The ladies, when we took over the full running of the team, they were bottom of the league. They only survived because of one team folding. They're now this year going to win a double. And we've also put in place a budget next year for them to challenge for the league again. They're going into the National League. We want to get them into Tier 3. That would be 2 promotions from the WSL. We've consistently invested in youth football, boys and girls. We've got growing crowds and people, the crazy people coming from all around the world to watch us. We have people who will get on a flight from Florida and come to Bedford for a football match. We've put Bedford on the map with this. And we had our conference we put on in Bedford, where we sold out every hotel room in the town centre. That is an economic uplift to the town. We've got people going to the restaurants, going to the bars, going to the hotels, spending money. They're also becoming aware of Bedford. We established our economic hardship fund. So if any kid in Bedford wants to play football, look, if their family in financial difficulty, money's not going to be a barrier. Any child who wants to play football in Bedford who can't afford it, we will pay for it. We just announced our Bedford Development Fund to widen our support of people in Bedford. So any talented young person, maybe sports or business or arts, who needs a grant, we will provide grants. We've just issued our first grant to a young racing car driver. We supported Eloise as a swimmer. Is it Eloise? Yeah. And so, and then add to that all the press, and I've even forgot the Winklevoss investment. We now have US billionaires, Cameron Tyler and Winklevoss, as investors and co-owners of Bedford. It's the largest investment in a non-league football club ever. So I think I can objectively say we're good for the town, because we are making it so more people can play sport, more people without the economic position can play sport, more money is coming into the town through people visiting, and more money is coming to town through investment. We're objectively good for the town. If you are obstructing what we're doing, you're effectively bad for the town, hence why I'm calling for your resignation. You need to stand down and you need to allow people who are qualified and competent, who put the people of Bedford first, to do this job. So look, it's a strong statement, but I stand by it 100%.
With that decorated list in front of us, do you think you can offer any reason as to why Tom Wotton is in the stance that he is at the moment?
I don't know, Will. It's a really tricky one. I've been on the phone to John Taylor recently, from Bedford Town, because there has been some tension between the clubs. And my statement might look like an attack on Bedford Town. It isn't. If you actually read it, I'm not attacking Bedford Town. I'm attacking the mayor and the councillors for their decisions. Congratulations, they got promoted. It's an incredible promotion. I was kind of like half gutted because I wanted to play them next season, but also that's good for Bedford, them getting promoted. Birchie's done a great job. We opened up our parking for them for their semi-final and final, and I've contacted John about working together next year. So it's very easy for me to say, oh, this is about Bedford Town. I actually think it might just be personal with the mayor now. I think, look, the mayor comes from a privileged background. Everybody knows this. His family's very wealthy. I think he's very out of touch with common people. I think you see that with his 4.9% council tax rise at a time where people are already struggling, and people say, well, lots of councils are doing this. Yeah, but how about you cut costs instead? He's also planned to borrow 50 million. I think it's for a sports village, but he doesn't have any sound business plan to actually pay back that debt. And I know the circles he mixes in, so I think he's probably not used to being challenged. I don't think he understands his mandate. I think he thinks he gets to act more like a dictator. Like I think of him more like a Putin, operating like he can do whatever he wants without any consequence. But that's not acceptable. We are a democracy here. He is elected, and his behaviour is unacceptable. So I think it's possibly personal. I don't think he's used to people telling him no, but we're here telling him no. But look, honestly, I'm just guessing. Whatever the reason, it's irrelevant. We are good for Bedford. We're good for the people of Bedford. Get out of our way. Let us focus on trying to get a team in the Football League and growing the opportunity for the people of Bedford.
The unique nature of Real Bedford lends its hand to obviously many an international fan, those who potentially will be looking on from afar and drawing parallels with potentially the story of Bitcoin and the story of oppressive governments in and around where they are. What sort of conversations would you like to have with those sort of people?
Well, I mean, I think some of the people who listen to my podcast will be like, see, Pete, we told you. But also, if you look at the comments already on Twitter, people are echoing similar issues people have in councils around the UK. I think this is just reflects the world at the moment, whereby I think people have forgotten that elected officials, whatever level of government, whether it's local or national, you are there to serve the people, not to lord over them, to serve us. It should be an honour, and you should be doing your best. But we're in the world of gutter politics now. Massive overspend by governments, massive increase in government debt because they can't rein in their spending. That is leading to high inflation, which is costing the people who need it the most in the world. It's costing them the most. So I just think what's happening with our local council is reflective of what's happening at councils up and down the country, and a reflective of governments around the world, whereby we seem to have lost sight of you are here to serve the best interests of the people, serve the electorate. You know, we don't serve you, you're meant to serve us. And so I think our story, it just probably echoes to similar stories people have all around the world.
And looking on to this weekend, Real Bedford have obviously made a statement today, but Real Bedford ladies potentially will have a chance to make a statement on the pitch.
Yes, yeah. I mean, look, what an incredible season. They've matched exactly what the men did. The men landed a double. They've landed a double. They might go one step further. They just beat AFC Dunstable last week for the County Cup, and if they beat Wroxham on Sunday, they will win a treble, 3 trophies. Incredible. They've worked very hard. They've put so much effort in for the Real Bedford badge, and I'm so proud of all of them. But that they're just reflecting what Real Bedford is about. The men's and the ladies is that we arm both teams to have the best opportunity to win trophies, and both have delivered. My headspace is ahead of that. I'm firmly working on next season. I want our men to win step 4 and get in step 3. I want our ladies to win the National League. In some ways a lot harder because there's only one team that gets promoted. There's no playoffs. Norwich came second this year, and I think, was it their last game of the season? It was the first time they lost, but up until that point, they hadn't lost all season and still not got promoted. It's going to be tough. but we're working very hard to put in place the necessary infrastructure, budget, and support and resources so they can go and win promotion again. So, look, we're a serious project. We're well funded, we're sustainable, and we support the community. And so I will be delighted when the ladies win on Sunday. If we have a treble, that'd be amazing. It'd be amazing for our captain Zara Carroll, who's put so much effort in for that team over the years. Tasha Fensom, who's played for us for years. Did she finish top scorer or one off it? Jill Upton. Jill has worked tirelessly for women and girls football in Bedford over the years, in the face of all the nonsense that you get trying to promote women's football. So if we win a treble, it's going to be great for them, great for the town, great for the club. So yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully they do it.
Obviously, we've seen from the reaction so far to this statement, everyone involved or around Rail Bedford is fully behind the actions taken this morning. But a lot of them will be asking and turning to you and saying, what is next? Can you provide any insight into how Rail Bedford will continue to practically maintain existence, especially into this next season?
Yeah, so I'm not worried. We have 2 years left on our lease. So I'm not worried about this. There's some things I won't talk about publicly. We don't just go blindly out there firing out brutal statements without a backup plan. We have plan B and plan C. Rail Bedford will continue to exist next year, the year after that. But it was really important that we exposed how our mayor thinks and how our council thinks, specifically the mayor, and their lack of support for local young people, women, and businesses in making the decisions they've done. So, look, I'll probably talk about this more in the future. It's now isn't the time, but I will be doing everything to ensure that this club achieves what I set it out to do, which is to get into the Football League, to bring league football to Bedford for the men's team and championship football for the ladies. But yeah, just sorry, can't say too much about that now.